Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Now, I was just in Casino for Life's thing about the game with the Blazers and the Lakers, and go subscribe to Casino for Life. Um, he tells the truth over there. People don't like to hear the truth. They still stuck, very stuck. So it is what it is. People are gonna be stuck now. Me and this guy was going at it. Some iconic G. Basically, this is from the slate. Um, why are the NBA ratings going down? And is it the bubble, fallout from the China controversy, something else? And this is by Josh Levin. And this is published, Mr. Iconic G, August 24th, 2020 at 1:21 p.m. Why are the ratings down? Lebrownies is supposed to be the greatest of all time, right? Y'all tell me this. Now, in a piece published in The Athletic last week, Ethan Strauss reported that the ratings for the network NBA broadcasts have declined by 45% since 2011 to 2012. Games on TNT are also down by more than 40%, while ESPN's ratings have gone down roughly 20%. And despite predictions that ratings for the league's bubble games would soar, they've actually been lower than those for pre-bubble games. Big trends tend to result from multiple factors. Strauss wrote among the ones he cited that players, coaches, and broadcasters have been highly critical of the United States and its government while remaining mostly silent about China. On this week's episode of Hang Up and Listen, I spoke with Strauss about the ratings decline, what evidence he sees that politics are a factor, and whether criticism of the NBA's stances on China is sincere. A portion of our conversation is transcribed below. It has been edited and condensed for lengthy and clarity. Now, Josh Levin said you've categorized explanations for why the ratings are down as excuses. So let me know if this is an explanation or an excuse. The NBA audience is younger than in some of the other sports that you cited, and also more non-white than for other sports you cited. Ethan Strauss says, I think there's an element of explanation where younger people like the NBA, but the liking of the NBA doesn't necessarily translate into them sitting down and watching 2 hours of an NBA game. If the NBA could figure out a way to make money off people enjoying seeing highlights over YouTube or highlights over Twitter, then good for you. It just doesn't seem like they've been really able to do that. I think it's basic. It's Occam's razor. The interest in your sport is represented by people sitting down and watching your sport. That's what it is. If you look at Gallup surveys, the NBA doesn't appear to be declining in popularity. If you look at what is your favorite sports to watch, it's been flat over the last 15 years. If you look at people saying whether they're a fan of that sport or not, interest in the NBA has gone up in recent years. So if Occam's razor is that the NBA is declining in popularity domestically, then how do you explain the fact that on this metric of literally whether the NBA is more or less popular, it seems to either be flat or increasingly popular? Is the metric what you do with your remote control, or is the metric what you say to Gallup? I mean, I think the quick and dirty measurement is whether you're willing to watch the sport. I mean, they're down nearly half their viewership. Like, what are we doing? Why are we avoiding this? That's what I don't understand. Why are we avoiding this? You lost nearly half your audience in 8 years. We're going to talk about a Gallup survey that just seems kind of ridiculous to me. Would you rather be the NFL, where you have this huge TV audience, but there are also existential questions about whether the sport can exist? If we're just talking about pure profit, pure money making, then yes, I think you would rather be the NFL. Now, do I want to morally be presiding over the NFL? That's a different question. But as far as how entrenched they are in American culture and how much money they're making and how much interest there is, I think it was over 15 million people watched the NFL draft. Yeah, they are at a starting position that is, I think, more secure than the NBA's. You mentioned some theories in your most recent piece about why ratings could be down, and you said the thorniest one is the political component. The theory is that some segment of viewers might be turned off because of things players say off the court or the social justice messages on their jerseys. The fact that they're not talking about China when they're talking about Black Lives Matter. What is the argument, or what is the evidence that this is causing a decline in viewership? I think it's completely obvious to people who aren't in the bubble. You have your most precipitous drop this last year after the NBA response to Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey's comments about China. I mean, absolute free fall where you're losing double digits on the national ratings, double digits on the local ratings, and yeah, maybe you're never going to be able to prove it to a T that it had something to do with China, but that is when NBA is hitting the news for people who are not necessarily completely engaged. And I think that when you talk to a lot of people who aren't within the media, people maybe where their politics don't line up 100% with what being events, yeah, a lot of people are turned off by it. I think that it doesn't take a lot of imagination, really. I feel like I'm being put in a position in a way of just explaining the obvious that gravity exists. And I guess I would say to you, why wouldn't it have an impact? I doubt that people who claim to be very upset about the NBA stance on China are actually upset about the NBA stance on China. Considering, for instance, that Trump failed to respond to the coronavirus in a timely way because he said that he didn't want to piss off China because they were working on some great trade deals. I don't see any evidence that people who are big Trump fans before that now really hate Trump because he wasn't hard enough on China. The component is a little more complicated than that. It's the idea that people within the NBA are criticizing the United States, which many of the criticisms are on point. Many of the criticisms can be agreed with, but that would not do any criticism at all of China because of the business relationship. I think that's a fairly obvious hypocrisy that people can understand. They don't have to be MAGA heads to necessarily see it and be put off by it. You're saying there's no evidence. I think the evidence is the decline. I would again ask for the people who find it so hard to believe, why would it be so hard to believe that? I think it's fairly easy to believe. And it's reminiscent to me of the conversation around NFL ratings going down during the Colin Kaepernick kneeling controversy, and that being attributed to that Kaepernick when at the same time ratings for NASCAR were going way down. You could look at ratings for NASCAR going down if you didn't know anything about NASCAR and be like, well, they must be protesting. There must be people pissed off about these drivers talking about social justice. Yeah, but then does that prove that it can't be true for football? Because I believe that particular story tracked with the ratings going down, and then the NFL did something draconian to stop the kneeling, and then the ratings went back up. It's not inconceivable to me that the people who say they're pissed off by that kind of thing are pissed off by that kind of thing. I am not. I don't care. Kneel away. That's fine by me. But there seems to be a population of people who actually do give a shit. I don't deny that it's possible that's what you're saying is true. What I'm saying is that I don't think that you're saying that it's obvious means that it's obvious. Well, what do you think the truth is? What do you think the truth is then? This season is really challenging one to make any conclusion from just because it's so unusual. It's games being played at a time they've never been played before in a world in which people's lives have been like totally thrown into disarray. But what does this have to do with the pre-pandemic drop? You're saying that there are a lot of small things that don't matter, that don't explain the drop. Maybe if you add up a bunch of small things that get you some of the distance there, if you add up the fact that the league has this younger demographic of fans that's going to be more predisposed to cord cutting, if you add in the fact that we're in sort of a generational shift in the NBA, if you add in the fact that a lot of the star power in the league is in the West, If you add in the fact that Zion Williamson was hurt all year, if you add in all these other factors, maybe it doesn't get you all the way up to 45%, but it gets you some distance of the way there. Yeah, I would agree that there's sort of this gestalt issue that the NBA has, and that they've got multiple factors. When people bring up the NBA, the word cloud that pops up is a bunch of positive things and a bunch of exciting things, and also it's you've got the China issue, and there's also the load management, and the guys change teams every year. I wouldn't deny any of those factors. I just think that there seems to be a taboo against acknowledging certain factors versus acknowledging other factors. Do you feel like it's fair to separate out league executives versus players when it comes to responsibility to talking about China? Because this is a league where Thabo Cephalosha and Sterling Brown have both been victims of police brutality, where this video just came out of Masai Ujiri being assaulted by a law enforcement official at the moment of greatest triumph for him and his team. These are issues that affect the players, the predominantly black league. It affects them. It affects their families. Doesn't make sense for people in this community to be focused on that and not to expect them to include China in every statement that they're making. Whereas maybe we would expect the commissioner and executive from these teams to speak more strongly and not support having a training camp at a place where Uyghurs are getting detained. I think it makes sense for people to discuss matters that are close to their heart, that are influencing their communities. I certainly wouldn't tell them not to, but there are players who make a tremendous amount of money off of business with China. Specifically, I mean the superstar players go there every off season and do a tour of the country, which is why it was so funny to hear so many people in the NBA saying it's far away, it's over there, we don't know anything about it. There is an intense connection. It was 15% of the BRI, which is basketball related income that pays players. I don't think that anybody should be left off the hook in the league vis-a-vis their business with China. And I think you're erecting a bit of straw man saying that they should talk about it all the time. They've completely run from it. They don't talk about it ever. I think maybe something in between would make a little more sense. And if they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. It's not the moral arbiter of the NBA if they want to continue to conduct business with China and not ever talk honestly about the other rival superpower in the world. That's their prerogative, but it appears to have a domestic cost in the United States that's fairly intuitive. I do think it's fair to criticize players who are making a lot of money from China for not saying anything. That seems reasonable. I don't think that's everybody in the league. Well, everybody is making money, but kind of in an indirect way because it's part of the BRI, but certainly some players are bigger reapers of rewards through the sneaker companies. That's certainly true. What I think about the China stuff is that people who claim to have stopped watching the league because of it would not be fans of the NBA if everyone was saying exactly what they wanted them to say about China, that they would find another reason to be mad at the NBA. Do you think that Ted Cruz would be happy with what the NBA is doing right now if they were saying everything that Ted Cruz wants them to say about China? Oh, there's undoubtedly a cohort that is bashing the NBA with China because it's convenient and they never liked the NBA in the first place. Yeah, there are some people that don't care about the Uyghurs and they don't care about Hong Kong, and they're only pretending to because they also don't care about the NBA and they like attacking the NBA. But within all of that, there's also a cohort, there's also a contingent that's legitimately put off. Michael Jordan was criticized for not speaking out about sweatshop labor conditions with Nike and how his shoes were being made in Asia, but I don't recall there being any kind of decline in ratings or the popularity of the NBA because of Jordan abetting sweatshop conditions in Asia. There was less ill will toward the nation of China. They were less credible rival to the United States. Well, I don't think the sweatshops was in China. To what you're saying, there is not exactly complete fairness to how we judge any of these things, and some things off the celebrities' backs and other things stick. And it seems like for Jordan, that was a PR crisis that was handled and kind of went away. But this current thing is getting at something I think beyond morality. there are elements of nationalism and maybe a credible fear that the United States is being overtaken by a country with more population that looks to be on the upswing. And so it's just a different dynamic right now. If we're looking at the Daryl Morrill tweet as the PR crisis, I don't think it would be crazy just based on evidence. And you're going to say it's because I'm inside my bubble to look at that also as a PR crisis that went away. I just don't perceive there being a huge number of people who are not watching Laker Blazers right now because of China. Well, now I'm going to go to the direction in some ways. I think the NBA didn't get proper credit for being a little bit more principled than some other corporations. Adam Silver did not say we need to fire Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey is still the GM of the Rockets, and China's government appears to badly have wanted him fired. I think what happened to the NBA is that they made China part of their branding. They bragged about how well they were doing in China. We're not as popular as football, but we're international and we're conquering the world. And so since the NBA made China such a part of its brand, when the relationship between the two nations curdled, I think it hurt them particularly badly, even if they handled it maybe in a way that was more morale than they were given credit for. So that was a long thing. And what I was reading was the conversation back and forth between Josh Levine and Ethan Strauss. If you want to check out more of this, then you can go listen to the full conversation on the episode of Slate Sports Podcast Hang Up and listen below. It's on Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, listen. Casino for Life has been talking about this. Ticket TV has been talking about this. Everyone's talking about this. But here's the reason why the ratings are down. If I was to go up to a person on the street, would they even know who Donovan Mitchell was? Would they even know who Jason Tatum is? Huh? Jason Tatum, everybody. Going once, going twice. No, they would not know who Jason Tatum is. And this is why. When I say lebrownies ruined the league, it's not only from a play standpoint. It's not from all this BS they're talking about. The ratings have been down since 2011. They go up last time they went up was when the Warriors were in the championship. Even after they got Kevin Durant, the Warriors were putting up high ratings. And you all hated on them because they got Kevin Durant. Now, lebrownies has been switching teams over the years. See, the reason the ratings weren't down during Jordan era is because you knew every player that was on the team. Like the Suns, you knew it was Charles Barkley. Even when he was in Philly, you knew Charles Barkley. You knew the Pistons, Isaiah Thomas. You knew the Rockets, Akeem Olajuwon. You knew Clyde in Portland. You knew Karl Malone and John Stockton in Utah. You knew Larry Bird in Boston. You knew Magic in the Lakers with James Worthy and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You knew Dr. J in Philly. Moses Malone came over there. You knew about him. They created a tag team to win. So this is the problem with the league, and I was trying to explain that to that idiot in the chat, is that this league, the ratings have been down for a long time. Basketball has not been the same since Kobe Bryant left the court. When Kobe was playing, his ratings were high every day. Every game, his ratings were high. Because you know why? Kobe was great. You didn't need to down this player or tear this player down to make Kobe great. Kobe was great in his own right. LeBron, you have to always put him up with another player to show his greatness. Now tonight, I knew they were going to beat the Blazers. I didn't watch the game, but I predicted to everybody the Lakers are going to win in 5. And the next series, if they play OKC or Houston, I think they're going to play OKC. because I got OKC winning the series in six. I said that before the series start. Now it's 2-2. When they play OKC, and Houston might still win it, but whoever they play, they're going to screw them next. They're going to beat them in 6 games. Then they're going to try to play in the finals. The conference finals is going to be the Clippers. Everyone's saying, man, but the Clippers struggling. Listen, the Clippers are going to win in 6 games. Watch what I tell you. I said it before it even started that the Mavericks have a good team. That I said the Clippers would win in either 5 or 6. They should be up right now winning it in 5. But Doc Rivers did something dumb. He put Reggie Jackson out there, which I'm like, dude, Reggie Jackson sucks. Why do you keep playing Reggie Jackson? Like, is that your brother's friend, or is that your homeboy friend or something, son? Like, what are you doing? Now, the ratings are down dramatically because, like he said in the article, players switch teams a lot. LeBron James, by switching teams, that messes up your product, that messes up your line. Not only does that mess up your line, people don't know who's on what team anymore. That's why people are like, I'm team LeBron. But call us bandwagoners if we choose another team, which is dumb. That's why people say Team LeBron, or people say Team KD or Team Kyrie and all this, because these guys have learned from LeBron James on what to do. And that's how LeBron James has ruined the league. They follow monkey see, monkey do. Now, the fallout with China, that hurt them? Yes, it did financially. Go to Casino for Life's page. He'll tell you about all of that, or One Crack News, One Crack News. Also, check out his movie channel, Screen Fiend. And also, look at On the Mark with my dog, Tracy and Cliff. They'll tell you about it on their channel, on Facebook. Now, people want to say, oh, you're a hater. Real ballers respect LeBron. You're not a basketball player if you respect this guy. I'm sorry. Even if you played, I don't respect you as a ball player, because you've seen great. You've seen greatness. I've seen greatness. I've watched ballers ball out. You know why the Blazers was missing shots tonight? And I didn't even have to watch the game, because they had a lot of ghost fouls being called. See, people don't understand when fouls are being called, it slows the momentum down. The Blazers are a momentum team. If they get in a rhythm, they're going to kill you. So what the NBA figured out is the Lakers are trash, so they have to cut the momentum off early. And how much you want to bet when they cut the momentum off early, LeBron James got hot? You know why? Because he most likely went to the free throw line. He got his rhythm right, and he started hitting threes. He couldn't miss, right? That's how LeBron plays. He's a rhythm player. If you get LeBron in a rhythm, he's going to shoot you out the game. You're done. He's going to beat you. I've watched this guy since '03. You guys don't understand. I know how this guy plays. He does that same spin move when he gets to the hole, or he's going to do that fake, like he going to put the ball down on the floor, then he's going to shoot that set shot three, because that's what he's been working on, his three-point shot. But he doesn't have a mid-range game at all. And then he attacks the basket by bulldozering over everybody to get to the basket. And now that he got AD, a guy who can stretch the defense, and the lanes open up even more, because AD can shoot the three and he could get it in the post. And what LeBron could do, he could run to the lane and then he could dump it to AD for a score. That's why he lost last year and didn't make the playoffs, not because of his injury. He came back in enough time to make it. He didn't have a player that could work with him. He has to play with a veteran team. He can't play with a bunch of rookies because he'll struggle. That's what I'm saying. I've watched this guy. I know how he plays. If he had a great game, then the refs put him on the line for him to get a rhythm. That's how he plays. His games are trash. The ratings are down because people do not like him. People loved real ballers. How come when Kobe was playing, the ratings weren't this low? How come when Mike was playing, the ratings weren't this low? How come when Magic and Bird was playing, the ratings weren't this low? And Magic and Bird didn't make it to the finals every year. Why is that? The NBA is down because they don't promote their talent. And the problem is, if you would have been promoting your talent, you would have had more people watching. Your loyal fans turned away from watching because they know what LeBron's gonna do. They know he's gonna get pushed going wherever. He's gonna get pushed to the finals or whatever. They're tired of it. Basketball is boring now. The game is all it is shoot threes, one-on-one basketball. And if they're moving the ball around, they're gonna shoot a three. Nobody cut to the basket. When I seen the Miami Heat playing and the Pacers were playing, that series has been the best series, even though they swept the Pacers. The Pacers played basketball. The Heat played basketball. The Jazz and the Nuggets. The Jazz switched up their game plan after game one, and they were tough to beat because they knew that they can attack the basket or they could get the ball to Rudy Gobert. Donovan Mitchell and Gobert were playing. Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert were playing that Stockton and Malone thing. I'm going to throw it up, except Gobert's going to dunk it. Malone would just get it and pick and pop. So that's what I'm telling you. If you feel I'm a hater, then that's you. I'm not hating on nobody. I tell it how it is. I see it how it is. Now, LeBron James had a great game tonight from what I've read and looked at. I haven't watched the game. I got the game recorded. I record the game so I can go back and watch it and break the games down. That's what I like to do because when I played football in college, I broke film down. Even when I watched basketball tapes, I broke film down. I knew how to watch film. When you're watching film, you're watching the other players. You're not just watching one player. That's why in basketball, I watch the team. I don't watch one guy. That's why I used to tell people back in the day, I used to argue, Kobe passed the ball. What are you talking about? If Kobe didn't pass the ball, his team wouldn't have that many damn points. He was even passing the ball in the game. He dropped 81. He was facilitating early. They got down by big, and Kobe had to take over the game. But guess what? Kobe was running plays. He was running sets. So stop with all this catering to this guy. The league is trash now. Now, the playoffs, for how I feel, the playoffs have been good. But to the casual fan, they don't watch the games. You're trying to cater to them. You need to cater to your core audience. Your core audience is the one who buys your jerseys, who buys your material. Not these fair weather fans, these young kids who don't know nothing but NBA 2K. They get on NBA 2K and they think that's how it is in real life. So the NBA really needs to look at this issue. What can they do to make this league better? What can they do? To me, you're going to push LeBron, get LeBron his ring this year. After you do, get rid of him and start grooming this young crop of players. Or your league is going to be down in the toilet again, and again. And I don't want to hear no, oh, well, no, the league, LeBron won, but the league's still losing money. Nobody likes him that way, man. It's just the truth. But Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, who else I'm missing? Luka Doncic has been putting on a virtuoso. Kawhi Leonard has been balling, and everyone keeps talking bad about Kawhi Leonard. They showing him falling on the ground, talking about, I should have never left Toronto. I'm like, dude, he slipped. Like, what do you guys be watching? Y'all just don't like Kawhi Leonard. Y'all don't like him, but y'all love the white boy, Luka. Y'all love the white boy. But y'all diss Kawhi Leonard, but y'all like this bum in LA with the Lakers, but y'all don't like Kawhi when Kawhi has been dominating the whole series against the Mavericks. And everyone trying to tell me, man, Kawhi ain't been doing nothing. I said, dude, you ain't been watching the game. Kawhi's been putting up the same amount of points almost as Luka. So what are you talking about? Are you guys smoking that dope, man? Y'all must be, because let's look at it. I know I'm going for a long time, but let's look at it. Let's see it. Trying to find it. Let's see. I didn't go anywhere, y'all. So Luca had this past game 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists. He mostly had defensive rebounds with 16 and one offensive rebound, which means no boxing out. Now let's look at this with the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard had 32 points with 2 steals, 9 rebounds. So how's that bad numbers? You see, you guys don't watch the games. And it's not your fault. You guys don't understand the games. Kawhi has been holding his own. The person in the series that hasn't been doing nothing is Paul George. That's the problem. So you guys have to understand. The ratings are down. The league is in trouble. Okay? The league is in trouble, and they have no way to get up out of it. To me, you have to promote your talent. The NFL is killing them. Even with the Kaepernick situation, they're lying in that piece, because I looked up the numbers. The numbers still were high for the NFL. They didn't lose anybody, because the NFL promotes team basketball. I blame this on the culprit, which was Michael Jordan. Back in the day, when they promoted Michael Jordan, once he left, they promoted Kobe and Shaq, the Lakers, and they promoted other players in the league still. It wasn't until LeBron came and his new commissioner, Adam Silver, that the league has been trashed. The ratings have been down since 2011 and 12. Before that, which was Kobe's last championship in 2010 with the Lakers and Celtics, those ratings were high. So this guy is the problem. Get rid of him, you solve your problem. Thanks for listening. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, and continue to support the page. And go support OTM on the mark with Cliff and Tracy. That's on Mondays, every Monday night. At I believe five, between 4 to 7 or 5 to 8. And that's on the mark. And it's on Facebook, Instagram, I think YouTube. I don't know if they're on all those platforms, but look it up. And again, hit the notification bell. Select all to receive upcoming news for content. And shoot, we out. Live boy.